The core question that I have been wanting to answer ever since inside and jeopardizing everything that you want for that one goal. When you have a moment like this where your life burns to the ground, going through because it is bone crushing and soul stealing, and then I need to fully surrender. Now, in closing, what's my message for this year really is don't wait, wear the pearls, wear the fancy watch, put on the expensive shoes, take the trip. I'm gonna wear my grandmother's pearls because they burned. And the core question that I have been wanting to answer ever since I started this podcast and really decided to add more of the spiritual component into a strategic element of business building is the question, how do you build something that works externally and doesn't kill you on the inside? Something that can be successful and creates money, income, and a lifestyle without you completely breaking and failing on the inside and jeopardizing everything that you want for that one goal. My name is Beat Schlett. Today's episode is a solo episode, and I want to share with you now, looking at the 1-year anniversary of the Palisades Fire, in which I lost first my office, my podcast studio, and then a couple hours later, we lost our home while we were on our honeymoon in Costa Rica. So this is a combination out of reflections, what I've learned, and learnings that I would like to give to you to move forward, hopefully in this next year with confidence, clarity, and with a force multiplier that's called spirituality. So the idea about having a business that works and doesn't break you is something I've observed for as long as I've been doing this. And myself, let me just say, it's a daily ministry. I'm in it just like you are. And it goes something like this. We are potentially part of a group, an accountability group, a peer-to-peer. We did a mastermind. We spend money in some sort of someone's program. We are part of the entrepreneur organization, YPO. We are part of Vistage. We are part of any one of these organizations that are part of helping business owners to get to that next level of business growth. What happens in these forums is that we revert back to a very old and very male and very outdated principle of 10x, traction, business building, really doing sort of the focus entirely on the business to get that business to perform at a certain level, potentially leading it to a particular exit. And then when you make that money, you are supposed to have it all. And boom, with the money in the bag, all your problems are gone. And this is, and I've talked about this on the show excessively, an absolute lie. That moment will never come. That moment never exists, because if you had an exit like me, then you're just going to set the next goal and you think, well, I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. And you try to repeat it again at a really significant personal cost. So what's the message here? The message is here that I want to be really reflective in this episode and say, looking at your life, let's be honest here. Let's talk about why you do what you do. Are you doing it because, first of all, you want freedom? I get that. Then you're doing this because you want to be able to provide for your family. I totally get that. You want to not have to look at the price tag when you are booking a vacation. You want to go at the very least economy plus, maybe business, maybe even first class. You do it because that is the outward symbol of what really works. And it means that you're successful. You want the Rolex or some other status symbol that is meaningful to you. It could be the car, it could be the house, it could be the vacation home, it could be the timeshare, whatever that might be. So you are now moving forward to create things that are going to cost money. And then you're going to have to be in service of these expenses to make things work. Now, the cost analysis in the math of achievement is that the external oftentimes outgrows the internal. That's why I have this show. In the show, I want to identify and articulate clearly through my guests and their journeys that almost always, inevitably, the day of reckoning comes. The day of reckoning comes at some point when there is a complete burnout, a health crisis, often a divorce, kids that don't speak to you, and there is a price tag that you at one point being presented with because you are not present in your own life. It could show up with things like your kids don't recognize your authority as a parent. They consider you as a wallet. Your relationship might be sexless. Intimacy is missing. You don't have the same kind of connection that you used to have. You start to stray. Something else looks better. And suddenly you're in hot waters. And as you do this, your partner probably does the same because you've lost this connection. Because you're so busy chasing something that you think, when I have that, then at that point, if I turn around and I look back, I can fix everything, only to destroy everything that's in your wake for that larger, bigger goal to get somewhere, at which point it is all okay. So the objective of Growth Architect and the concepts we evaluate here and the spiritual aspect of it is that I am asking you, as we go into this next year, to really look into what are you going to redesign and what do you need to redesign in your life. And redesigning means you extract what doesn't work and you keep what works, and you completely eliminate things that are damaging. In my particular case, because I had a fire and my house burned to the ground, and just about everything I own and value has also gone with it. I no longer have things that were meaningful that I identified myself with. I don't have an office. I'm working from home now. I don't have my grandmother's pearls. I don't have the jewelry, the gold. It's all gone. It melted, it disappeared, it vanished in 2,000 degrees heat, burned over 8 hours. When you have a moment like this where your life burns to the ground, and whether that is literally or whether that is metaphorically, I sure hope that you don't have to go through what I had to go through and still going through, because it is bone crushing and soul stealing. And, let's not even talk about my nightmares and all this other stuff that I'm dealing with that comes with it, and trying to re-find your personality, your place, your desires. What is it even worth it? It's a very life-changing event. But you all have a fire. I know you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to the show. From the outside, when we are chasing this particular opportunity of achievement, whatever that achievement might be, it always looks like everything is working. But if you listen to these episodes and my story, you'll find that there's always something that inside wasn't working. And many times we talk about, what are you tolerating? Because you're tolerating something because it is technically successful. But if you are truly successful, could you not, like my friend Julian Gooderley says, be successful in all areas of your life? And what are all these areas in your life that you truly want to be successful with? So you chase a particular achievement because you have a desire, you really want it. And that's why they always say, be careful what you wish for, because you may get it. Because a lot of times when you wish for something, it's a singular wish of more money or getting the this or being really famous, without the clarity on what all the other things are that you want to have come with it. A lot of times these areas that you wish that they could come with, you forgot to ask for, and then when you get there, you don't have them, which is a meaningful relationship, good connection with your children, the actual time to go on these vacations, and health, maybe 8-hour days or 5-hour days instead of working for 20 20 hours a day, which I am seeing some of you doing. So the physical and emotional cost of success often doesn't show up until there is this complete transformational moment. And many of you just ignore these signals along the way for the sake of output. I'm just going to do it one more time today. I'm going to do it one more time tomorrow. And then next week, I'm going to get better. And I know this because I do it myself. I have had some very intense stomach issues. If you think about it from a spiritual perspective and you say, well, what's the story here? Well, the story is that clearly my life is a lot to swallow right now. And so I'm having a lot of acid reflux. I have a hiatal hernia, which means that part of my stomach sticks out of above my diaphragm. And I very often, stomach-wise, don't feel well. So I should not be drinking. I should not be drinking coffee. I should not be eating spicy foods. I should basically eat, even if I eat a salad, I have to be careful with the dressing. So it becomes extremely restrictive. And if you look at this from a spiritual perspective on restriction in life, it means that there is a personal challenge that I really need to be looking at. So I have set this as my personal goal for the next year to really look into where this is coming from and do focus on my own physical health and healing as a yearly goal. So misalignment is accepted because we have a larger goal. In my particular case, it was like just making it through this year. And you may have a misalignment of some sort because you have other goals that you have not been able to pursue because you pursue and that you sacrifice because of that. So we are now suddenly in this like weird spiral or this weird loop of we know better, we still do it. We know we need to do it, but we can't really do it right this very minute. We have to do it later. There's an emergency. Somebody gets sick. It's too late to go to the gym. It's this, and this. And on and on and on it goes. So what if we separate the results from the methods? The idea of the growth architect and the methodology that I use is to give a very particular framework. And this particular framework, the $40 million blueprint, allows you to follow your steps to success in a very predictable pattern. It is the idea drives the offer drives the systems drive the people you hire, and the team you hire, along with the systems that you use for the offer that you solve your clients' problems with, determines who you need to be. It is really so simple. It applies to literally every business. I was able to narrow it down to only 5 words, so everybody really can remember this. In this particular system, if you follow the system, you know exactly what you need to do to take this business from the idea all the way to an exit, because these steps are clearly outlined in each one of the components of the system, on whether that's in the first phase, which is the creative forge, which is around business building. The second phase, which is the growth forge, which is all around building repeatable systems and processes. And in legacy forge, which is the third piece, which is then how do you scale it and eventually get it ready for exit. So all of this already exists, on whether that's me or somebody else. It's hardly brain surgery. I feel that what we do here in our work and with our team is, increasingly more so to provide you with a framework so you can play. And not just in the sense of that I want you to be in my circle for the next 20 years. I don't have 20 years. That's just an age math. But that the purpose really of what I've done is to create this and to give it to you at the most affordable and fairest possible way, in all the transparency, with all the shortcuts I learned, with the reduction of all the BS that I've seen, the false promises, the lots of cash, the private planes, the whatever, hot girls, expensive tequila. All of this isn't going to get you anything if somebody has a match to your house and you lose everything in a day. Then you strip down to the bare necessities, and at the end of the day, you need to look in the mirror and you need to like what you see. If you cannot go by a mirror or a reflection of yourself and look at it and you go like, damn, girl, you are missing the richness that your life is intended to be. And I came up with this in my meditation this morning. It was actually kind of a cool line that that came through to me, and it was that we oftentimes we think it is for us and through them, meaning that everything that we're trying to create is for us and for our benefit, and it comes to us through our clients. But the reality of it is that it comes through us and it is for them. And that is the change that I want to talk about on this show, and I want to talk about more and more and more for you to understand that spirituality is an underlying force multiplier, that the spirituality, the concepts of connection, community, collaboration are really these powerful accelerators and accelerants that you can use to do and put on steroids what you want to do. Now, word of caution. I think the largest and most challenging lesson for all of us in the consulting and the coaching space is that oftentimes the mess becomes the message. And that means that what you are learning is what you're here to teach. Now, that means that you first have to figure out how to master the problem that you're that you're facing. And if you're having a hard time to break through a particular barrier, that is the thing you need to fix, or that you need to solve. And very likely, the harder it is, the more likely is that your vision or your mission in the world to then take this to other people and share the knowledge that you have with others so they can do the same thing. So now that the mess is your message, you now go into this idea of saying, if what I'm building is coming through me, and I have to let go my attachment to it, then I need to fully surrender. Now my house burnt, my office burnt. I kind of had no choice. I came in a pair of flip-flops and white flowy clothes. We didn't have anything when we came back. So we had to rebuild what we wanted to build, not rebuild what we have because it's impossible, it's already gone. So the idea of surrender, and this is the core spiritual concept, is that what makes you think that your plan works so well? Because if you're blowing up relationships and you're blowing up your relationships with your partner, with your kids, with your family, you have never any time, you can't work out, you can't do this, you can't do that. How good is it? But then it burns to the ground. And then it's so busy with the rebuilding, with the figuring out what the fuck just happened. And now you're supposed to surrender to all of this because you are in a spiritual mindset to say that what God, universe, spirit, or universal energy has in store for you is so much better than what you have. And you look literally at the ashes of your life and you go, no, this cannot be that. And yet you have no choice because every time you try to do something, it falls apart. So the learning for me in this is, if I am teaching spiritual practices and concepts that are strategic and implementable, should I not be living them? Here we go. Am I going to be a fake person, or am I going to be real? And that is, I think, where we are in this world right now. That's why the external systems are breaking. That's why the pressure on you is so high. That's why the transformation you've been going through is so bone-crushing difficult. Is because you're being asked, you're being forced, you're being literally forced to your knees by this higher force that says you're here for a purpose. And if you're here for a purpose, you cannot escape this purpose. And you have to surrender to this flow that's wanting you to step into it so you can do the work you came here to do. But here we are, and here I am, and we think that we have full control over everything that we want to do, and that somehow our plan is better than this force that takes seeds and turns them into babies and makes the universe works and has a sun and a moon and stars and a universe and a galaxy and scientific laws. But we alone know better. Preposterous. So if you think this through from this larger perspective of who am I in this universe? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. A small speck And once we go, we will have maybe left a mark on a photo in a frame on somebody's mantelpiece. And then that'll last for a generation, maybe two, and then we're gone. And nobody will even remember us. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done, how many exits you have, and whether you were in the forefront of AI, whatever. The only way you can live on is what you created in your soul, the connection, the learnings, the impact that you have had. And then maybe that will continue in the life and the applications of others. That's all we can really do here. And yet there we are. We take everything that we do so unbelievably seriously that we think that if we don't deliver this to our client by the end of the day, the world will truly come to an end and we will be thrown into some sort of prison and punished in eternity, and they'll take our firstborn. So the cost curve of this false narrative that says more and more at any cost is using this operational system costs you a lot over time. Relationships, health, clarity, creativity. And so if you keep believing that the system that is what it is, and it's unsustainable, now it can't create the results you want, no matter how hard you work. So something has to change at the very fundamental way you look at this. And the identity shift I was literally being forced to recognize was an identity shift that I had to let go of what I wanted, the status, the certainty, the self-image, the single mom, immigrant, overcame a bunch of adversity, eventually sold a business for millions of dollars to Bill Gates. That is all true. That was my story, but is it still my story? It's part of my story, but that is no longer the story, because what is the story? The story now is the transformation. The story is as you move in life through version 1.0 to 2.0 to now 3.0 in my case, which another of my clients, Amy, has given me this beautiful concept idea. It's actually her concept, but I've been using it about the version change. And I think she's the corporate mom coach. She's fantastic. So check her out. But she has really nailed it with this idea. It's a version change. So we believe, and then the version changes. And now suddenly we go like, well, we need to believe something else now. It is not longer working. Now we become that. We believe. And then something happens, and now we are yet another version. So what are you going to do with that? That's the constant pace of change. So the only thing that will sustain in this constant change of pace, at the pace of change, is going to be that you stay true to who you are, honest and vulnerable and open, so that you allow others to see the transformation, because others that are going through the transformation, especially for my coaches and consultants, come to you because they are themselves going through transformation and change, and they want to teach other people how to master their transformation and change. So, of course, they themselves must go through this transformation and change, and then it just keeps continuing, because as their clients are learning and evolving, the next thing is going to show up. Here's the version change again, 1 to 2 to 3. That's, I think, to me, the most important message I can give you is that this stepping away from repeating the damage or recognizing what the transformation period is. And I'm in a transformation period, and chances are you're in a transformation period right now. Man, it is so hard. And the sleep, the weight, the nightmares, as I said, the relationship, time. There's so many things you want to do. I was thinking about it last night. I was wrapping Christmas gifts while the laundry is going. I just had cooked dinner, cleaned that up. And then the minute I'm done with that, while I'm watching some TV to just relax, I'm doing my physical therapy exercises for my knee. And I'm still feeling guilty that I'm not here working more because I have so much stuff that needs to be done. Such is just that's just where we are at right now. So I encourage you, as this message gets to you, to allow the recognition to come through that what you've been through just recently is the transformation portion, and the middle is always messy. It gives you the breakdown, the breakthrough, and then comes the breakout. And as the breakout happens, you are now prepared for it. It gets better. Buckle up. You do the work. but don't do it like you did it, because then if you don't learn your lesson of creating it in a way that is more beneficial for you, you're going to be right back in the next breakdown, because you're going to push it until you can't push it anymore. And then inevitably something's going to happen, and there's going to be your next breakdown. So the more you try to lengthen these periods, and they're just inevitable, they come, and they will continue to come. So don't think that you're going to be done after this. It's going to be another thing. At least you can soften the depth in which they're happening. And because of you having this awareness that you need to make it through these types of things. So the alignment in practice, not theory, in my world, looks therefore like this: a deep sense of self-awareness and honesty. As I was working with a client, and I was really hard on him, and he is German like me, but no matter what I brought to him, he took this pause, and in this insane self-awareness, he goes, "That resonates, you're right. That's where I want you to be." In this intensity of a self-awareness where you know the truth, even if the truth is not quite what we like it to be. The practice looks like you got to have systems, and there have to be boundaries and constraints around them. And there have to be decisions, consistent decisions you make. And the practices, the spiritual practices, have to have an operational impact. I cannot meditate every day and then go and decimate my team. If I have a spiritual practice where I believe everything is for a reason, and that I'm here as a leader and that I'm guiding, then what happens on the external world is a reflection of my true internal belief system. And if I don't like that, I must change my internal belief system until the outside reflects back to me who I think I really am. That's your litmus test. If what's coming at you from the outside is just not there, then you are not really truly believing this. There's a great episode I did with David Nagel on the double binding message. Highly, highly recommend you to go to that episode and listen to it. It's probably one of my favorite episodes. Been my mind trainer for a long time. And I thought that a lot of these concepts are really, really powerful to take away, is that we are in charge, and that what the outside world is a reflection of what our inside world really looks like. So in closing, I would say that most leaders don't fail because they lack discipline or ambition or even action. But they fail because we build a version of ourselves based on a system that no longer works, a belief system we don't ourselves buy into, and a deeply flawed practice of saying one thing and then doing another. And that, my friends, does not work anymore. With the change in the system around us, and I see it everywhere, is from simple things. We talked about it in forum today, from the simple things of people not wanting to put injectables in their face anymore, or plastic surgery because they want to be the real themselves, for people not drinking because they don't want to have these external stimuli, to people having mushrooms instead of coffee, caffeinated coffee, to it's on every level internet marketing. I mean, it's really not working anymore. We have become very, very smart in what we allow the message that we want to believe in to come to us. And if it is not true, people will smell it like a rat, and they will not follow you, and they will not like you, and they will not buy from you. So I'm asking you, as you go into 2026, are you still winning at all internal costs, or are you saying you're not, but you're still doing it? Are you taking your validation out of how much money your business is making? That's 100% me. It's been something I've been working on that I don't like about myself, and I want to change, because I believe that the minute we give up that validation, our businesses are going to be exponentially more successful, because I know it's a spiritual law, and it's so difficult even for me to follow it. So that's something I want to work on. Maybe you want to work on that too. And then, is the success that you have really the success you want, or are there parts of it that you would like to redesign? Now, in closing, what's my message for this year really is, don't wait wear the pearls, wear the fancy watch, put on the expensive shoes, take the trip. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't hold it for a day when something's going to happen. I'm never going to wear my grandmother's pearls because they burned. And I'm glad that I used all the china and the silver for every holiday, set the table with the greatest, utmost care, because now none of these things exist for me anymore, but they exist in the memories of me having used them, not waiting for a day when I can. Live your life now. Everything else is a waste of time. You never know what's going to happen. And the happier you are here today, the more success and love you will attract to you in your life. And that is it for me for today. I appreciate you. We are going in our 3rd year of podcasting. I couldn't be prouder of what we are building, the conversations I'm having. I thank you for being here. I thank you for listening. Help me to grow this show more, reach more people that need to hear these messages of how do you have a spiritual core and a strategic and successful business so that more people can live in alignment and resonance with what they're really here to do and not blow up their lives in the process. That would be my greatest wish, is to help people to come up with systems that work for them and not against them. And with that, I say I wish you a happy new year. I wish you a great 2026. And I thank you. And until next time, goodbye. That's it for this episode of the Business Growth Architect Show, Founders of the Future. If you're done playing small and ready to build the future on your terms, subscribe, share, and help us reach more trailblazers like you. And if you're serious about creating, growing, and scaling a business that's aligned with who you are, schedule your Uncovery session at uncoverysession.com. Lead with vision. Move with purpose. Create your future.